welcome to a brand new episode of Chucky's Playground News. But it's not just a brand new episode, but in fact a very special episode. In fact, is the 2015 year-end recap spectacular. I know it's a very long name, but that's what we're going for here. That's what we're going with here. And I did this last year, right around this time, and you know what? I'm going to do it again, because I can. But, yeah, we're going to be taking a look at everything that has happened on the playground this past year, 2015. We've had a monster year, a spectacular year. I mean, it's been crazy, but it's been cool at the same time. So it's going to be a little bit different from the usual episodes. I'm sort of going to try and stick to what I did last year on this recap. Just kind of recapping everything that's happened. You know, specific threads that I felt were pretty interesting and some of the best and most popular and stuff like that. What we talked about the most. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's not waste any more time. But before we do that, let's go ahead and continue to do the shout-outs, because I love doing shout-outs, man. So first of all, Spanky and G, really awesome admins. Chico105, awesome dude. The Punk, awesome dude. Tiffany Valentine, great graphics designer. Dragon Prime, really cool dude. Witch, really cool person. Mega Man, really cool dude. Sweetface, really cool person. Violent Dolly, awesome person as well. So all those people are awesome and amazing. So, yeah. So, let's go ahead and begin this spectacular extravaganza. And I'm sort of going to be going in order here via the threads and sections on the site and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the Anything Chucky section. For those that don't know, this is the section where it doesn't necessarily revolve around any specific movie. If it's anything Chucky related, that's where we can talk about stuff. And a lot of discussion was being talked about was around the Chucky figures. And as everybody knows, anybody that's a Chucky fan knows that Chucky does have a lot of merchandise around him, specifically figures and stuff like that. You know, there's been vinyl figures and Hello Kitty figures and plushies and stuff like that, and animatronics and stuff like that. And most of these come from Mezco, and for the most part, they do look pretty good. Like, sometimes it really does make it look like Chucky does have like male pattern baldness or stuff like that. But I do think that for the most part they look fine. You know, I think sometimes we do get some Tiffany products, not as much as there probably should be, but I think they do look cool for the most part, so they do look accurate. And we also discussed Chucky being an anti-hero, and I think it would be pretty interesting. I think the character probably could pull it off, you know, because honestly, he is pretty irritating in the movies, and sometimes in a weird way, you kind of don't want to see him go. So, I think, sort of like if there was a crossover film, you know, if it was, say, Freddy Krueger versus Chucky or something like that, I think Chucky could end up being some kind of unlikely anti-hero. I think he could sort of pull that off rather well. And Chucky versus Tiffany. Yes, the ultimate question, the ultimate battle in these movies. Who would win in a fight, Chucky or Tiffany? I think by experience, I think Chucky would win objectively, but I wouldn't count out Tiffany either. Because I think she can be a creative serial killer, not to mention that when Chucky and Tiffany did fight in the movies, Chucky... he's only accomplished killing Tiffany once. At the very end of Bride, he does try and kill her, but he doesn't quite get the job done, really. And then C tries to kill her, but doesn't really accomplish that as well, because Tiffany gets transferred into Jim Vertilli's body. So, really, out of the 3 times that they fought, Chucky's really only won once, which is rather interesting. But yeah, it would be a cool battle to say the least. And I think Chucky would win objectively, but I think Tiffany would put up a bit of a fight. So that's pretty much all of the all of the threads and anything Chucky that I felt was pretty interesting. And so now we're going to go to Child's Play 1. This section encompasses everything about the first film. You know, anything that happened in the first film, we talk about here. And one of the things that got a lot of talk was the apartment, specifically Karen's apartment. And we were sort of debating how Karen was able to live in an apartment like that, because, you know, her job, which is shown in the film, you know, she works in a department store, you know, she probably doesn't make, like, that much, you know, so how could she afford an apartment like that? You know, some people have theorized that maybe her husband died in some kind of accident and she gets compensation for that, and that's how she's able to do it, you know. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's a pretty interesting debate, honestly. And there's a lot of different theories that could be said about it. So that was something I found really interesting. And so now we're going to go to Child's Play 2. And much like Child's Play 1, this is a section where anything that was talked about in Child's Play 2, anything that was a big deal, you know, you can talk about it there. And this year, Child's Play 2 celebrated its 25th anniversary, which is pretty cool. I mean, you know, Child's Play 2 probably one of the best horror sequels ever. I really don't see a lot of fault in it, honestly. I mean, it's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm really not sure whether it's better than the first one. I don't know. I mean, I do find myself watching it more than the first one, but that's just me. And we also talked about deleted scenes, the deleted scenes in this movie, and these were deleted scenes that on DVD, at least, they've never really seen the light of day. Honestly, they've really only been seen like whenever it's shown on TV. Like, I think USA would show it sometimes, and they would air it there just to kind of fill time, you know, just to make sure, like, the film would go 2 hours, so in order to do it, or to fill that time, they would put in the deleted scenes, so that's probably why. And the deleted scenes are honestly pretty interesting. And I think the one that I sort of like the most is the Madison scene. And it's really not that big a scene, honestly, but it just kind of lend more details to Madison's character, so I did kind of like that one. And so now we move on to Child's Play 3. And we will be talking about the novelization of Child's Play 3. We talked about the novel of Child's Play 3. I've never read the novel, but I do really want to. I know there's a novelization of Child's Play 2 out there somewhere. And I think it would be pretty interesting to do. Interesting to read. You know, I don't think it really differs that much from the movie. I think, you know, there's a couple scenes different, but other than that, I don't think it's really that different. I know Child's Play 2 novel, it has, like, certain flashback scenes to when Chucky was a human child, and his mother was a legal little person or something. So I think it's pretty interesting, and that kind of says a lot about Chucky and his character and stuff like that. And so we also talked about Andy between Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3, you know, what he was up to. And I think it is pretty interesting. I actually would like to see some kind of, like, short film looking at what he was up to in Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3. But at the same time, I do kind of think it wouldn't really be that interesting. You know, I really do think that nothing that interesting happened to him. He does say in the third film that he was just bouncing from foster home to foster home, and then finally after all this time they just couldn't take it anymore. He was just a troubled child, and so they just sent him to the military academy. You know, so he says that they didn't feel like home, they felt strangers, and he could never really adjust to where he was at. So I don't think anything really that interesting happened to him, But I think someone could really make that interesting. I think if anyone were able to make like a short film, or even a fan film, if anyone would make like a fan made film, or hell, even a fan fiction would be pretty interesting to do. So we move on to Bride, the Bride section. Of course, I love that section because Bride is my favorite movie. But we were talking about a lot of stuff, and one of those was Bride's deleted scenes, kind of, because I was watching Chiller earlier this year. This was like about a couple months ago or so. This was around September, and I was watching Bride on Chiller TV. And Chiller TV, it's a really cool channel. It basically shows, a lot of horror, a lot of thriller, stuff like that. I really like that channel. And I watched this movie on TV a lot. I've watched Bride on MTV and MTV2 and stuff like that. It airs on some cable channels every once in a while. But this particular time, this particular airing, they ended up showing some scenes that I had never seen before. Specifically, there was this opening where, like, it's sort of like an extended one where Officer Bailey and another cop talk. And there was another one where Jesse and Jade are celebrating their anniversary. And I think that particular one is really interesting because it shows that Jesse might be a bit of a troubled teen, actually. And he also mentions that that particular night that they're going out is his and Jade's anniversary, which I think is really interesting. And then the third scene and third final scene that's different, that's deleted or whatever, takes place at the honeymoon suites hotel. It's basically them just questioning whether each other is a killer or not. Not really that important. Sort of already did that scene, really. But all three of them are really interesting. And I did a YouTube video of it, showcasing it. So I might post a link to the video in the description. Because I do think that it is rather interesting. And we also talk about what Chucky was reconstructed from, because we have noticed that there is something rather interesting. And the way that sort of his scars line up, apparently Tiffany isn't holding Chucky's remains from Child's Play 3, but the smashed up bits look more like the remains of Tommy from Child's Play 2. So, I don't know if it was just like the material that they used for that particular doll or what, I don't know. But it's pretty interesting to say the least. And then we were also talking about the amulet in the film, the Heart of Damballa amulet. And in some ways, it doesn't really make sense, at least continuity-wise. Because in the first few films, he never needed the amulet to do it. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that the idea didn't even exist at the time of the first three. But with that said, I do like the design of the amulet in Bride. I always thought it was a really cool design. And so now we move on to Seed of Chucky, the Seed of Chucky section. Yes, I know, it's Seed. But we do like talking about every movie. But, yeah, and so Seed, one of the questions that was raised was Jennifer and Tiffany's doll body when Chucky killed her. And this was something that I just realized earlier this year. I was watching Seed. And I never really noticed that Jennifer was in Tiffany's body when her death scene happened. And I don't know, I just never really paid that much attention to it. It was probably obvious, but I just never really noticed that. It was almost kind of subtle in some ways. And like, whenever Tiffany's dying, I think that's when the soul of Jennifer is in there. And I just never really noticed it before. And I always thought that was pretty interesting. And then we also were discussing that Tiffany isn't evil like Chucky. And yeah, that is pretty interesting because Tiffany, even though she is a serial killer and stuff like that, she's not as ruthless as Chucky, I could say, at least in attitude. She's always kind of real sweet. Like, unless you cross her, then you're pretty much dead. But I do think that she does show sort of more compassion than Chucky does. She has more humanity than he does. Like, she can be violent, but not like Chucky, And I think that's where sort of like Glenn gets his sweetness from. I think Glenn gets his sweetness from Tiffany, and Glinda gets her ruthlessness and just anger and violent tendencies from Chucky. So I think that was an interesting thing. And so now we move on to Curse of Chucky. And one thing that's interesting is that, there's these comics around. There's like these DDP comics, not Diamond Dallas Page, but like just DDP. And these comics, apparently, there's sort of a theory that these might be events that lead to Curse. These are pretty interesting, to say the least. It's an interesting concept, I guess. And so now we move on to straight-to-video quality. And it's basically us talking about, all the little goofs and continuity errors and stuff like that. Like, there's a scene near the beginning where Nika is going to check on her mother, and it from the camera angle, it looks like she's standing up or she's walking and stuff like that. And some of us found that rather interesting. Some of that goof and continuity errors and stuff like that really interesting. And in Curse, we also talked about the ending, like the very ending, which is the Chucky and Andy ending. And I was sort of questioning, whether this ending actually happened or not. Because something I found rather interesting was that this was the ending that was only available on the unrated version. In the rated version, it always ends with the, what was her name? The kid's grandmother. I cannot remember the name. Alice, that was the name. Alice's grandmother, and she has a bag over her head, and she sits up, and I think that's the ending that you see in the rated version. But in the unrated version, there's a post-credit scene featuring Chucky and Andy, and that always I always had to question that, because I don't know why they wouldn't just put it on the rated ending, but I don't know. But I do sort of tend to think that it actually did happen, but I think we'll find out for sure when Chucky 7 ends up getting released. And speaking of Chucky 7, that's where we're at right now. And we were also talking about gore, how much gore should be in Chucky 7. Me personally, I do really like some gore, in horror movies. Like, my favorite kind of horror movies are slasher movies, and those have a ton of gore in it. But I think more gore would be awesome, but I don't necessarily think it should become like a Saw torture porn kind of movie where it's just gore after gore after gore after gory scene. Because by the time the Saw movies got to the end, it just got really cartoonish and just really ridiculous. But I think there should be a good amount of gore. I think if it helps the story, then I think it should be fine. I think they should really do it sort of in moderation, And then we were also talking about how long it might take for Chucky 7 to get released. And, I think it might take a while. It probably won't happen in 2016. Probably not. I mean, who knows? Maybe it will, but I swear to God. I think 2017 would probably be the best release year for it, maybe. That would probably be, the most realistic one. Because they would probably shoot it, if they have plans to do it in 2016, they could shoot it in 2016 and release it in 2017. But who knows? Maybe we'll find out sooner rather than later. And then we were also talking about, should Curse be the last one? Do we even need a Chucky 7? And on one hand, I can see how Curse could be the last one, but at the same time, I do think that there are a few unanswered questions that we do need answered here, so I think Chucky 7 would be a good one. I think if there was ever going to be like a last final Chucky movie, it would probably be up to 8 movies, maybe. Though I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more if they were able to get a good story and they were able to get, good stuff in it. So, then we move on to projects. A lot of members like to do projects. Everybody, quite a few people like to create custom dolls of Chucky and Tiffany, which is pretty cool. We got a few members doing that, and they look awesome. And Chucky 105 Awesome has been doing his own Chucky tributes this year. I think one of them was Set the Terror Away by Drowning Pool, and another was Set the Cedar. And all of them were just awesome. Chucky 105 Awesome, really great video maker, especially when it comes to these Chucky tributes. He's just amazingly talented. So definitely check out his tributes in the project section because they're really good. And so now we move on to sort of like the miscellaneous section, I guess you could say. And this is where we talk about, all kinds of entertainment. This is basically, stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with Chucky. This is where we like to hang out a lot. We both like to talk about Chucky, but we also like to just kind of hang out and just have a little fun here. And this is what the miscellaneous section is for. And we also have the movies and television section. But in the movies and television, there is a subsection, and that's a subboard, and that's wrestling ring. Quite a few of us like to talk about wrestling, WWE, Lucha Underground, whatever. And a few of us really love to do that. And probably the thread that has been that has gotten the most work out has been the Raw official discussion thread, and that basically. It pretty much acts as not only the official WWE discussion thread, but also the official Monday Night Raw discussion, where we just talk about Raw and all ongoings that are happening in WWE at the moment. And it's actually the second longest thread on the site. It has 482 pages as of this video, and it has a total of 7,217 replies and 35,463 views. So that's pretty impressive, I have to say. We just have a lot of fun, talking about what we like, what we don't like about it, and it's a really cool place. We're a cool place, and a lot of us like to hang out there very often. And movies and television section, this is another one where we like to hang out a lot. A lot of us like to watch movies and television and stuff like that. So. A thread that has been getting a lot of workout has been American Horror Story. Quite a few of us on the site like to watch American Horror Story. This season hasn't been very good, unfortunately. I don't know. For me, it hasn't been really good. I don't know. I remember liking Freak Show season a lot better than this one. Not that this season is horrible necessarily. But it's sort of disappointing, to be honest. Nevertheless, we do like to talk about it, what we like, what we don't like, stuff like that. And favorite horror movies, this is a thread that sort of stuck out to me. All of us, we're talking about what our favorite horror movies are. My favorite horror series, of course, is Chucky. But I do like the Friday the 13th horror movies as well. I do think that they are pretty cool. I think I really like how creative they can be with their gore. Some of Jason's kills are pretty unique, honestly. They're not really like any other horror slasher character, And Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, is awesome. Again, unique stuff, especially with the whole dreamscape and stuff like that. So there are just many, many horror franchises that are awesome. We like to talk about what we like, what kind of horror movies are good, what kind of horror movies are bad. Just a horror movie discussion. It was just a really cool thread. And The Walking Dead, a lot of people like to talk about The Walking Dead. I don't really watch that show. Honestly, I've seen bits and pieces of it. But for me, I just think it's a bit too late for me because I would have to watch from the very first season. And I don't even know what season there are. now. I think they're like in like the sixth season or something. But I don't know. Like I'll probably like binge watch it when the series is over and done with, which will probably be a long time from now. But yeah, a lot of people do like to talk about it, and it does sound like a pretty cool show. And then what you watching right now, thread, and that's without a doubt one of our most popular threads. You know, a lot of people are always watching movies and TV and stuff like that. It's a really useful thread. And right now it is at 1,455 replies and 12,326 views. And as far as the page, we are at about 98 pages. So we're getting really close to 100s. And we might end up doing that maybe. We will reach it in maybe a couple weeks or so. But, so yeah, let's go on to the Gamers Galore section. And we have quite a few threads going on here. What are you currently playing right now thread? And again, another really popular thread. This currently has 324 replies and 3,058 views. And it's currently at 22 pages right now. It's a really useful thread, you know, because quite a few of us like to play video games in our spare time and stuff like that. Right now, I'm currently working on Mortal Kombat X, because that's what I got for Christmas this past last week. And speaking of that, Merry Christmas, Merry belated Christmas to everyone. Hope all of you had a great Christmas. Hope Santa brought you some pretty cool gifts. Probably should have said that in the beginning, but whatever. It's never too late. But anyway, now that's done with. Merry belated Christmas. And so yeah, I was working on Mortal Kombat X, and I'm still working on it. I'm about halfway through the story mode, I think. It's a pretty cool story mode. I actually do like to play as Sub-Zero a lot. That's like the character that I go to. But also I like playing as Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Scorpion. And I also got Alien Isolation for Christmas. And it's pretty cool. It's a good horror game. It actually is a little scary, honestly, because I've never been more paranoid playing the game in my life. Because I never know when one of those aliens will pounce on me and kill me in 2 seconds. But, you know, it's a really effective horror game. It's really good. And I'll probably get started on that one. Company like I have started on it, but I haven't gotten too far into it because I'm really playing Mortal Kombat X more. But I do like that game. And Chucky Alphabet, this is actually a bit of a subsection as well. We have some subboards called Chucky's Playbox, where we have like these forum games. And we also have reviews. So if you ever wanted to like give us your opinion or review of a game, there's where you can do it. This is in the Chucky's Playbox section, and we were doing this Chucky Alphabet thing, and it's pretty cool. You know, like A for Andy, C for Chucky, you know, P for Pete Peters, D for Don Bauer, you know, stuff like that. Unfortunately, we haven't finished it yet, because we can't think of anything for Q. And then when we get to X, Y, and Z, those are going to be torture. But, yeah, maybe we'll finish it one day, because it's a really cool little thread. And then a lot of us were really talking about Batman Arkham Knight. A lot of us were really looking forward to that game. And I ended up getting that game, like, I don't think release day I got it, but like a few days afterwards I got it. Because I was really looking forward to that game. And I played it, and it's really cool. I really loved it. I really liked the story going into it. I really liked the Scarecrow, and I think they treated the Scarecrow great. Like, he is much better in this game than he was in the actual films. Like, he was actually a threat and villain. He didn't just take, like, a backseat to, Ra's al Ghul, like he did in Batman Begins. And he wasn't in pointless cameos like he was in the next two. But yeah, the Scarecrow was a really good villain. I liked the way that they incorporated the Joker into it. I thought that was a really clever way of putting the Joker in it. I won't give away how he appears, but yeah. So it was just a really great game. If you're a Batman fan, definitely play it because it's a lot of fun. And the Batmobile, you know, it took some time to get used to. Honestly, it really took some time to get used to. But once you did, I thought it was pretty fun. And so we were also talking about consoles, what consoles we play on. And I play on a lot of them, but the one that I play on the most would probably be Xbox One, because that's like my system. I'm not really a fan of the Wii U's kind of setup, the controller setup. It just looks like you're playing on a tablet. I don't know. I just prefer like a normal controller, but that's just me. And the PS4 does look cool, but I'm just going to stick with my Xbox One. We'll talk about all kinds of systems. I play stuff like the original Xbox, Xbox 360, PS2, PS3, GameCube, stuff like that, And so now we move on to music/podcasts. And what are you listening to right now? And that's, without a doubt, one of the most popular threads ever. I'd probably say that's like the third most popular thread on the site, because a lot of us still like to listen to music and podcasts and stuff like that. I like to listen to music like all the time. That's probably the thing I do most in my spare time. And it has about 2,000 replies and 16,348 views. And we are currently at 134 pages right now. So that's pretty cool. And I tend to listen to a lot of heavy metal and hard rock, of course. But I also like to listen to some genres that you wouldn't expect me to listen to. That's why I like to listen to all kinds of music. All kinds of music except for country. Because country sucks. In my opinion, anyway. But, yeah, so we all like to listen to music and podcasts on the site. It's just really cool to see what other people are listening to and what their tastes are and what kind of music they like and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And Movie Mayhem, that's a podcast that Spanky and G do. A really cool podcast, very entertaining. They talk about all kinds of movies. Just a lot of really cool stuff, like Wagon Wheel. I think that was the name of their last episode, I think. So they just do like all kinds of really cool episodes. So definitely check that out, because it's just a really awesome podcast. And song dedication to members. This was another really cool thread where we could actually like dedicate certain songs to other members of the site. Just a really cool song. Just seeing what everybody was able to come up with was really cool. That was really fun to see. And so now we move on to the off-topic section. And what are you doing right now thread? Once again, not only is this our longest thread, but this is by far our most popular thread. As of right now, actually last year it was 388 pages. This year is 582 pages. So we've come a long way since last year. And we have a total of 8,726 replies and 58,528 views. And it's a very useful thread, It's pretty much what we're doing at this point in time right now. Like, what am I doing right now? I'm recording this podcast. I'm recording this episode of Chucky's Pregnant News. I'm recording this year-end extravaganza recap spectacular. That's what I'm doing right now. But, yeah, it's a really popular thread. We use it all the time, and it's great. And G is Halloween 2015. One of our admins, G, was doing this Halloween special where every day in October she would do something that was Halloween related. She would do, like sort of like this crafts stuff. Like she would make like this bat, a mini bat, or a ghost or something like that. And other days she would write like this short story based on stuff like that. Or she would give us a history lesson on Halloween and stuff like that. So it was really cool. And so it was just really fun to kind of read about and participate in and stuff like that. So it was really cool. So G's Halloween 2015 was pretty cool. And so we then move on to the announcements. And actually, earlier this year, we actually celebrated Chucky's Playground's very first birthday. How about that? You see, on See, on April 16th, 2015, we celebrated Chucky's Playground's very first birthday, which means on April 16th, 2014, Chucky's Playground was officially born. And it's pretty cool. I think I ended up joining a few days after it was created. I think I joined on, I actually registered on April 25th, 2014. So I registered just about a week or so after it was created. And that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Because I love hanging out here. I love being a moderator on the side. I just love just hanging out on the side in general. Just talking with all these awesome people, that I met over the past year. It's just a really cool place to be. If you haven't signed up, definitely check it out. It's been a great year or so for the playground, and many more years to come. And then side events, and this is the last thread that I'm going to talk about here for this particular episode extravaganza. Side events, Spanky and G's Halloween party, and this is the live stream and they ended up live streaming a party, and they ended up live streaming The Exorcist, which is a really good movie. And to be honest, I had never really seen The Exorcist before. I had seen bits and pieces of it, but I had never actually seen it before, which is pretty interesting. And I actually do really like the first one. I do think it is a good horror movie. Pretty much all the accolades it has gotten, it deserves, because it's really good. I like attending the live streams and stuff like that. I like hanging out with the other members of the playground while we watch movies. It's just really cool. Hopefully we'll be able to do it sooner. Hopefully be able to do it soon again, because it's really fun. It's really a lot of fun. And before I go, just want to talk about some of the changes that have happened on the playground in terms of members, because we've actually gained some members, because last year we ended up getting 73 members last year, but then this year we ended up gaining a lot of members. How members do we have this year at this point in time? Drum roll, please. Okay, we get it. You can stop it now. Hey, Mr. Drummer, we get it. You can stop now. Knock it off! That's more like it. Anyway, like I was saying, last year we had 73 members. This year we have 96 members. That means we have gained 23 members this year, and that is awesome. That is absolutely amazing. 96 members. So we've grown a lot over the past year, and I have a very good feeling that we will reach 100 members in 2016. I just have a really good feeling about it. And for those that are watching this video and haven't signed up, definitely sign up. Feel free to sign up. We could always use some more members. It's a great place to hang out. It's just an awesome place to be. Awesome place, awesome people. So yeah. So that is all for Chucky's Playground recap. This 2015 recap. Thank you all for watching this 2015 recap of Chucky's Playground. It's been an awesome year. Some awesome stuff. It's been a crazy year, but it's been an awesome year as well. So thank you all for watching this recap. Thank you, and I will see you all in 2016. And I think Chucky's Playground will have an awesome 2016. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And I will see you all next time.